Think about all the animals we eat: cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, lamb, fish. We've been eating them for thousands of years. We've built entire farms, entire industries, entire cultures around them. Billions of these animals end up on our plates every single year. But now, stop for a second. When was the last time you saw chimpanzee burgers on a menu? Or gorilla steak at a restaurant? Or a monkey roast served at Thanksgiving dinner? Or orangutan ribs sold at your local grocery store? Probably never, right? And that's actually really strange, because chimpanzees are made of meat too. They've got muscle, they've got protein, they're big, strong animals. So why don't we eat them? Is chimp meat poisonous? Does it taste bad? Or is there something deeper going on here? Something nature figured out long before we ever did? Stick with me, because the answer is way weirder and honestly way more disturbing than you'd expect. To understand this, we've got to go back a long, long way. Way before restaurants, way before farms, way before humans were even really humans. Our ancestors didn't have grocery stores, they didn't have refrigerators. Every single meal had to be found, chased, or killed. And every hunt was a gamble with their own lives. So early humans got really, really good at one thing: figuring out which animals were worth the risk. And here's the pattern they landed on. The best food came from animals that ate plants: deer, wild boar, wild cattle, goats, antelope. These animals were everywhere. They lived in big groups, they bred fast, and most of them weren't going to fight back and kill you. But chimps were a whole different story. And I mean that literally. Here's something most people don't realize. A chimpanzee is not some cute, gentle animal like you see in cartoons. Pound for pound, a chimp is stronger than you. Way stronger. Some studies suggest they're around 1.5 times stronger than a human in pure pulling power. They've got long arms, sharp teeth, and absolutely zero interest in losing a fight. Wild chimps live in tight groups. They're smart, they plan, they even hunt in coordinated teams. There are documented cases of chimps working together to take down other animals, including other monkeys. Now imagine you're an early human, thousands of years ago, holding a wooden spear. Do you really want to walk up to a group of animals that are stronger than you, smarter than most animals you've ever met, and willing to defend each other to the death? No, you don't. It's just not worth it. Chasing a slow, dumb deer? Easy meal. Attacking a group of angry, intelligent, super strong apes? That's a great way to get yourself killed. But danger wasn't even the biggest reason. Not even close. Because there was something hiding inside chimp meat that could quietly wipe out entire villages. Here's where it gets scary. The closer an animal is to you, biologically, the easier it is for that animal's diseases to jump into your body. And chimpanzees, they are the closest living relatives we have on the entire planet. We share around 98 to 99% of our DNA with them. That is incredibly close. Now, that sounds cool on paper, but it comes with a terrifying downside. Because a disease that lives inside a chimp is already almost perfectly designed to survive inside a human. It doesn't need to change much. It doesn't need to adapt for years. It can just jump. Scientists have a name for this. They call it zoonotic disease. A disease that crosses from animals into humans. And when it comes to great apes, that jump is dangerously easy. When you kill an animal that close to you, when you cut it open, when you handle its blood, when you eat its flesh, you're basically rolling out a red carpet for whatever virus is living inside it. And history has already shown us exactly how bad that can get. Let me tell you about one of the most devastating examples in modern history: HIV, the virus behind AIDS, a disease that has affected tens of millions of people around the world. Where did it come from? Scientists have traced its origins back to primates in Central Africa. The leading explanation is that a similar virus, living inside chimpanzees and other primates, crossed over into humans, most likely through the hunting and butchering of these animals for meat. Somebody, somewhere, generations ago, killed and handled an infected primate, and a virus that had been living quietly inside apes suddenly found a brand new home, inside us. From that single jump, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history was born. And HIV isn't the only one. The Ebola virus, which causes horrific and often deadly outbreaks, has also been linked to contact with infected primates and other wild animals. Some of the worst outbreaks have been traced back to people handling or eating what's called bushmeat, wild animal meat, including apes. So when we ask, why don't we eat chimpanzees, this is a huge part of the answer. Their meat can carry viruses that are practically built to destroy us. Ancient humans didn't know about viruses. They couldn't see them. But over thousands of years, they noticed something simple. Eating certain animals made people sick. Sometimes it made entire groups sick, and they remembered. Okay, let's set the disease part aside for a second and talk cold, hard math. Because even if chimps were totally safe to eat, they'd still make terrible food. Think about how farming works. The reason we farm cows, pigs, and chickens is that they're efficient. A pig can have a dozen babies at once, several times a year. A chicken can lay eggs constantly. These animals grow fast, breed fast, and turn cheap plants into meat in record time. Now compare that to a chimpanzee. A female chimp usually gives birth to just one baby at a time. And here's the crazy part. She might only have a baby once every 5 years or so. 5 years! Baby chimps depend on their mothers for a really long time, sometimes years, just like human kids do. So imagine trying to run a chimpanzee farm. You'd wait half a decade just to get one single new animal. One! Meanwhile, a pig farmer would have produced hundreds of pigs in that same time. It's not even a competition. From a pure food standpoint, chimps are just about the worst possible animal you could ever try to raise for meat. Slow to grow, slow to breed, expensive to keep, dangerous to handle. It makes zero sense. But let's be honest, there's one more reason. And it's not about danger or disease or math. It's about something we feel. When you look into a chimpanzee's eyes, something happens. You see recognition. You see emotion. You see something that feels almost human. And that's not your imagination. Chimps really are eerily like us. They use tools. They solve problems. They comfort each other when they're sad. They grieve when a member of their group dies. Mothers carry their babies and protect them fiercely. They laugh when they play. They throw tantrums. They form friendships that last for years. They're not just animals to us. They're a mirror. When we look at them, we see a reflection of ourselves. And that makes the idea of eating one feel deeply, instinctively wrong. It hits us on a gut level. Most people, without even thinking about it, feel a wave of discomfort at the thought. That feeling isn't random. It's the result of us recognizing a creature that's just too close to home. So let's put it all together. Why don't we eat chimpanzees? It's not just one reason. It's a whole stack of them, all pointing in the same direction. They're dangerous, strong enough, and smart enough to fight back and win. They're disease factories, carrying viruses so close to human viruses that they can jump straight into us, sometimes with catastrophic results. They're terrible for farming, breeding painfully slowly and growing far too expensive to raise. And they're too much like us, so similar that eating one feels almost like a betrayal. Danger, disease, inefficiency, and that deep human feeling that says no. Every single one of those reasons on its own would be enough to give us pause. But together, they slam the door shut a long, long time ago. Think about a chicken for a second. It grows up in a few short weeks. It lays eggs almost constantly. It's calm, it's cheap, it won't fight you, and it carries far fewer dangers to us. In every possible way, a chicken is built to be food. Now think about a chimpanzee. Slow, powerful, intelligent, emotional, carrying viruses that could spark a pandemic. In every possible way, a chimp is the exact opposite of food. One is nature saying, sure, go ahead. The other is nature waving both arms and screaming, "Absolutely not!" So the next time you see a chimpanzee swinging through the trees, using a tool, or just staring back at you with those familiar eyes, remember this. We didn't skip eating chimps by accident. We skipped them because everything about them, their strength, their diseases, their slow breeding, and their haunting similarity to us, told us to stay away. Nature drew a line a long time ago, and on one side of that line, it put the animals we could safely eat. On the other side, it put the ones that looked a little too much like us. That's why we built farms for the chicken and the cow and left the chimpanzee alone in the wild, where it belongs.